Now, 4 decades later, he remains one of the most indelible and romantic figures in baseball history. Here now, from those who played with and against him, their memories and thoughts about the ballplayer Clemente was, and about the day the game lost one of its true stars.
When I was a little kid, I want to be a baseball player. This is something that I think about. The more I think about it, I'm convinced that God wants me to play baseball.
What a goal! Clemente putting on a one-man show.
I went up to him and I said, "Listen, Roberto, here's the deal. If I ever get traded, I'm going to pitch you inside because every National League pitcher pitches you away, and you hit 350 every year." He said, "Blas, I'm going to tell you one thing. You pitch me inside, I hit the ball to Harrisburg."
That is hit well. Clemente, hold on.
He was the greatest God-given talent we ever saw on the baseball diamond.
He could turn a 10-year Major League veteran into a 10-year-old kid because he didn't want to miss the thing he did.
And what a magnificent performance from Pittsburgh's right fielder, the great Roberto Clemente.
By any measure, Roberto Clemente was one of the greatest and most distinctive outfielders in baseball history. A lifetime .317 hitter, he played right field with a flair unmatched. And late in the 1972 season, he was on the verge of a milestone.
How soon can you get to your 3,000 set? Well, you never know. If I arrive, like I said before, you never know because God tells you how long you want to be here. So you never know what can happen tomorrow.
He didn't think he'd be around all that long. There was that sense of possibly a life that was going to be cut off at any moment.
Everybody, everyone happy to get that big number 3,000. Happy hits it down. Left center field. There's the end. A double for Roberto.
That 3,000th hit turns out to be tragically his last regular season at bat.
After the 72 season, Clemente returned to his native Puerto Rico. On December 23rd, a massive earthquake struck Nicaragua. Nearly 10,000 people were killed, and some 250,000 were left homeless. Roberto had managed the Puerto Rican team in Nicaragua a month before, and he immediately decided to help the relief effort.
Como me ha dicho Roberto, nos pusieron el corazón de Nicaragua a los pies de los puertorriqueños.
But there was a problem.
Nicaragua at the time was ruled by a state-of-the-art dictator, Anastasio Somoza, a fairly corrupt man whose National Guard was looting the relief supplies that were arriving. Clemente's contacts in Nicaragua are calling him and saying, "Roberto, you've got to come and do something about that." And Clemente agreed.
I had gone back to Puerto Rico to play winter ball, and I just told Roberto that I'd be glad to help him any way I could. Roberto had organized this, had gotten a friend to donate an airplane. The owner was the pilot.
On the day he went to get a plane to go to Nicaragua, everybody said, "No, don't take that plane. Don't."
Remembering the day itself, helping load the plane, and I can still see it in my mind. I've never been able to erase it. I had asked Roberto, I'd like to go along and help you unload the plane and come back. And that's when he said, "No, you need to go and party. It's New Year's Eve." And that's really the last conversation I had with the man.
This plane should not have been flying. There had not been adequate maintenance. It was badly overloaded. And I think that sense of urgency that they felt in getting this material to Nicaragua overpowered, I think, both caution and common sense.
Good evening. Another plane crash last night. A 4-engine DC-7 loaded with supplies for Nicaraguan earthquake victims fell into the ocean after takeoff from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
3 in the morning, they called my house. I answered the telephone. And as you know the news, I said, "What news?" Roberto crashed.
Among 5 persons aboard, Pittsburgh Pirates baseball superstar Roberto Clemente.
God, it can't be real. It was still disbelief. That can't be right. Clemente can't go down in a plane crash. That can't happen.
I still have in my mind's eye an image of Roberto that is stuck with me, alive, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm deeply saddened that I was there. It's probably one of the last people to see him alive. Probably the last baseball player to see him alive.
Clemente was a national hero, and probably most of the people are waiting that one way or the other he walks out of the ocean or comes out back in.
I think people in Pittsburgh and San Juan held out hope against reason that somehow he was alive. Manny Sanguin, starts to dive along with the search and rescue missions.
The ocean was rough. I feel like I had to participate. I cried. I said, I think we're never gonna find anything.
To this day, it just seemed to me like the shoulders of the city of Pittsburgh slumped when it was confirmed. And it was as simple as that. And as devastating as that.
It's hard to believe you lost a friend that quickly, trying to do something good for people.
The impact of Clemente's death was felt throughout the baseball world, but most of all, in his native Puerto Rico.
This was inauguration day for Puerto Rican Governor Rafael Hernandez Colon, but the governor canceled all celebrations as a sign of respect for Clemente.
The only time that I've seen so many people gather was when the Pope came to Puerto Rico.
A U.S. Coast Guard cutter today located the wreckage of a cargo plane in which baseball superstar Roberto Clemente and 4 others were killed New Year's Eve. The wreckage was found about 1.5 miles off the coast of San Juan.
It was later determined that the DC-7 plane Roberto Clemente flew on was 4,200 pounds over its maximum allowable weight. It didn't undergo a single flight standards inspection before departure. It experienced extensive engine failure during takeoff, and the crew itself was unqualified. Roberto Clemente was 38.
This is Roberto Clemente's hometown, Carolina, just outside of San Juan. And in this church of San Fernando, Roberto and Vera Clemente were married. And it is in this church that his teammates are saying their farewell to him.
It was like a brother, a father, a hell of a friend. You could put all these things in that still won't properly describe the man that he is, and it really typifies the way he passed and trying to help the people that were in need.
Clemente's sudden death stunned the baseball world. Major League Baseball did something it had done only once before, and then for Lou Gehrig. It waived the traditional 5-year wait rule for Hall of Fame eligibility. And so, just months after his death, Clemente was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
This is Roberto's last triumph. And if he were here, he was dedicated to our people of Puerto Rico, our people in Pittsburgh, and to all his fans throughout the United States. Thank you.
The following season in Pittsburgh, his number 21 was retired forever.
"40 years later, I think of a man that probably saved my life. Said, no, you need to go back and enjoy the evening. And I can't help but think about that now because I had 4 wonderful children, And turns out that one of them is the second baseman now for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if you look at the right field wall, it's the Clemente wall. It's got his number, 21. And I'm sure that when my son Neil comes out of the dugout and goes out to second base, he's got to see that wall every day.
I'm very proud that I play with him. And I'm very proud that we are from the same country, Puerto Rico.
Pleasant surprise for me to see Cepeda doing so well.
Last year I was in Peru. I was watching the news and they showed three people: Gandhi, Luther King, and Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente is the Jackie Robinson of all Latino ball players.
There have been a few guys that played at different levels. There was a Mantle or a DiMaggio or a Willie Mays or a Henry Aaron. Clemente was in that class, but will they have the other aspects? Will they have died so dramatically? Will their stories last for 40 years? Their complete story, not just their playing. I don't know. Clemente says.
Tonight on MLB Network, join